Dude. How many more times are they gonna do that? 70? 70? I know! Let's go!
Good. We all feel good.
Stop! Never gets rusty!
What am I doing?
Into my kitchen! Producer Drew, can you fix all this? And when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet! Saw that going differently. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory, puppy Ziggy! The Leafs always, for everyone, is their team, right? And now the Leafs are Tampa's team. Who tries to... No, wait, this is a good one. They do ask how, but they ask how many louder. Screw it. Leafs win! 6-5 in overtime. It was 4-1 again. Oh, screw it. I said screw it, gosh darn it. I want to be happy. Now listen. I was cranky. I was cranky. I've been cranky over the last few days about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I've been right to be cranky. When the Leafs were down 4-1, I tweeted, yeah, there's a bunch of dudes who don't need to be a Leafs after tonight. Get lost. Spelling mistake and all. Look at all those quote tweets, ew. And a lot of you agreed with me. And then after the game, I was making fun of myself like, shut up, idiot. And a lot of you were like, no, that guy was still right. And I'm both those guys. So let's talk about a night of heavy emotion, the full spectrum of emotion. Real quick, our sponsor, me. That's right, just here to tell you one thing that I'm not going to tell you very many more times. The Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic in support of Easter Seals is a charity that helps out kids with physical disabilities, and it means a lot to me. My family is an Easter Seals family. That tournament is on Friday, and I'm going to be playing in it poorly. There are two raffles, one you know about and one you don't. First, link in the description. If you donate any dollar amount to my Easter Seals page, my Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic page, any dollar amount, you are automatically entered into a raffle for 2 tickets to the Leafs game on March 2nd. They were generously donated to me by a gentleman named Ronald Fox. If you donate any dollar amount, you're automatically entered into the raffle. If you've already donated, you're entered into the raffle. But you have to submit your donation before 7 p.m. on Thursday, November 9th. If you don't get it in by then, too bad, so sad. My second raffle also ends at Thursday, 7 p.m. This is for a signed Mitch Marner Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. But it's not if you donate to my page. My team is called Rachel's Raiders. If you go and look at my team, you'll see I have a number of teammates, Adam Wilde, Jesse Blake among them, but they're all trying to get to a certain dollar amount as well. If you donate any dollar amount to any of my teammates, you are automatically entered into a raffle to win that signed Mitch Marner jersey. Certificate of authentication, it's real. The paper that says it's real. So, raffle for a pair of Leafs tickets, raffle for a signed Mitch Marner jersey, and you're helping a great cause. What's not to like? Nothing's not to like. So here we go. Let's talk about a 6-5 Leafs OT win. Dude, this is a hurricane of emotion. Like, actually, because it's one thing to lose. You're allowed to lose, and it's always annoying when you lose, but sometimes you just lose. Last few Leafs losses have not been just them losing. They've been soft. They've been embarrassed. They've been outplayed. They've been shelled. They got embarrassed in Boston, had a meeting saying this can't happen again, and then they got embarrassed on home ice in a game where their star had a hat trick. They had the better goalie. Home ice advantage, still lost. Can't happen. No wonder everyone's in a bad mood. So, the Leafs got to make some changes. Before the game begins, they call up Nick Robertson, send down Pontus Holmberg, move Max Domi to the middle. That's a change. That's a change I can get behind. Didn't make any sense to have Holmberg on the wing when you have Nick Robertson with 11 points in 9 AHL games sitting right there. Domi to the middle, Robertson with him, and who cares who their line mate is on the other wing as long as it's not David Kampf on the center of the third line. Am I losing it? Early on last year, weren't we like, he's a fine player, he just can't play there? New year, same coach, same realization. But the other big change to the third line, Matthew Knies isn't there. He is promoted to be playing with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. This is great because Calle Jarnkrok is really good. We saw that in this game, didn't we? But just because he's really good doesn't mean he belongs on the first line. Do you understand? Like, what's your favorite pizza place? You have a favorite pizza place? You ever walk in there and go, gosh, Frank, you're the best at making pizza? And Frank goes, oh gosh, thank you, grazie. Frank, you are so good at making pizzas that we're gonna make you the town ice cream man. And Frank goes, what? And then it turns out he's not the greatest ice cream man, and you're like, why doesn't this work? He was the best pizza man in town. Yes, the best pizza man in town. Why are you making the pizza man the ice cream man? That doesn't make any sense. And you might be like, well, I like Calle Yarncroke on the first line. He wasn't bad. We need better than not bad on the first line. We need good. Nyes had a great game. Yarncroke had a great game. 2 different roles, 2 different players, 2 different places, 2 different places that they ought to be. Should it have taken 12 games to realize this? No, but luckily, it's an 82-game season. That's so many games. Matthew Nyes goes up to the first line and he scores right away, and I am half elated and half enraged. Because what were you doing? Why? But better late than never. Then what happens? Victor Hedman comes in and scores a big old piece of crap goal. That goal was a piece of crap. You might go, it's Victor Hedman. It's a piece of crap. And that piece of crap goal came 35 seconds after Matthew Nyes opened the scoring. Samsonov wears 35. It's kind of cruel. Nikita Kucherov less than 2 minutes later. About 5 minutes later, Nikita Kucherov again. Gosh, he loves this goalie. And for good measure, another power play. Why not? Brayden Point 4-1. Sammy gets yanked from the game and the crowd cheers. Dude, I feel for Sammy. Like, I really do. That's gotta be hard to deal with. Man, outside of one game where he was really, really solid, he's been awful. Absolutely awful this season. They had a stat where the Leafs had the second worst home save percentage in the entire National Hockey League. They put the graphic on the screen, took it off, and Samsonov allowed another goal immediately after. It's twofold. They cheered because Samsonov's been awful, and the people in the building got to see him be awful. Like, there were a lot of people in that building when he got yanked who were like, cool, I just lit hundreds of dollars on fire to be here tonight. Dude, I've never gotten that many text messages from people who were at the Leaf game in my life. No one texts you like, I'm at this game and they're running up the score, lol. They're like, this is the worst game of my life, and this text message where I'm pretending to laugh is a cry for help. I'm happy to report none of them left. But it's not just that Sammy's been really, really bad this season. Joseph Woll, the kid. They love the kid. You know why? The kid makes saves! And they get booed off the ice at the end of the first period because they deserved it. Now, here's the thing. Heading into the second period, what's the conversation that we've been having over the last few days with the Leafs? You almost don't care about the games where they're down 2-0 to Boston, for example. They come back, tie it, get tremendously outplayed despite tying it, and they barely squeak out a point. And you don't care because even though it's great you got the point the same way you always do, getting outplayed, getting outscored, your stars bail you out, and then you just get outplayed again. Well, unfortunately, in order for the Leafs to win this game, they were going to need something pretty similar to that. So you look at this game as a whole and go, is it good to fall down 4-1 in every game and expect a comeback? No. Is that the sort of thing that is going to be a winning recipe come playoff time? No. Would we all like to see it tonight in November? Yes. And Austin Matthews says, do I have a treat for you? The 4-2 goal, Matthews' first goal of the game. Matthew Nyes gets the Daryl Boyce assist. He works hard down low, comes up with the puck, gets it to Mitch. Mitch gets it to TJ Brody, who gives it to Austin Matthews. High slot. Like, this should not be a scoring area. Yeah, well, this is why. Matthew Nyes, big, strong, down to get the screen on in front of Jonas Johansson. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, the comeback was against Jonas Johansson. He had a winning record coming into this game. A .907 save percentage, 5-1-3. There are a lot of teams who would kill for that type of performance this season. If Jonas Johansson was on the Edmonton Oilers, we'd be having an entirely different conversation about them right now. But he's not. He's on Tampa. Of course he's on Tampa. Of course he's giving them quality starts. But unless it was Carey Price combined with Clark Kent's X-ray vision, he wasn't stopping this one. 4-2. Hey, Matthew, do you have any more of that magic stuff? And Nyes said, how about some random spins? This kid loves spinning stuff. Spins, rips a backhand past Austin Matthews, who buries it. And look at him. Look at his face. Look at this reaction. This is him. This is the man who has more goals than the San Jose Sharks a month into the season. It says a lot about the Sharks as well, but it says a lot about him. And this face, when I saw this face, I was still mad at the team. I was still real mad at the team. But this is a face of a guy who's not going to let his team lose tonight. Both those goals were relatively early in the second period, in the first 6 minutes, but the Leafs smell blood at intermission. And just a minute, a gosh darn minute into the third period, oh, look who it is. Oh, look who it is. Maximum Domi with an assist. Nick Robertson with an assist. Kelly Yarncroke. I was very excited. Yarncroke. Kelly Yarncroke scores! Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Guys, how long? How long did I yell and scream? It's not even that Max Domi had like a brilliant, mind-blowing game. He didn't have to. He was not being used properly. Matthew Nyes! Isn't it weird that both guys had arguably their best game of the season? Their last best game of the season was together. Except it stopped making sense to use them together with David Kampf in the middle! Hey, nice. Let's put you with Matthews and Marner. Okay, no surprise. And Domi in the middle of Yarncroke and Robertson, and people said, oh no, the defense. What about the defense? They're probably going to get scored on. They're going to get scored on sometimes. You know what they're also going to do? Score! That third line of Nyes, Domi, and Kampf got scored on a few times, but I can tell you what they didn't do. Score! Put three guys on a line that makes sense on paper, and gosh darn it might work in practice. And as if to emphasize my point, 8 seconds later, Matthew Nyes to Mitch Marner buries it, and the Leafs have the lead. Sheldon, Steve, why are you yelling at Sheldon? He did it. He didn't do it soon enough. He did it soon enough to win the game. He didn't do it soon enough for me. Do I come across as someone who he did it soon enough for? I come across as someone who's handling this well? Now, less than 3 minutes to go in the game. Oh, what we were talking about. This is what we were talking about. Dude, like, we don't even know how good the Leafs' ability is to protect the lead, because as we talked about on today's podcast, the Leafs were something like 27th in the entire NHL in terms of time leading a game. Heading into this game, through 11 games, the Leafs only led for, I think it was 13 minutes and 6 seconds. Hilariously, that number like doubled in this game because they were leading for a huge chunk of the third. Until, let's admit, to go back to a point from a little while ago, Nick Robertson, not the best clearing attempt, but also 2 Lightning behind 2 Leafs D. That can't happen. No. It's the only goal Joseph Woll allowed this game. I liked Giordano in this one. I liked Lagesson in this one. I like Robertson in this one too, but not a great goal. From the team perspective, Joseph Woll, I mean, he was basically frog splashed by Brendan Hagel. So the game goes to overtime, and this is gonna knock your socks off, folks. The Leafs began overtime with one of the best players in the world taking the face-off. Leafs start the overtime with Matthews, Marner, and Brody out there. And if you notice, the goal that came only 46 seconds in, the Leafs had 3 different guys out there. Nylander, who, snatched Hagel's ankles. Riley with the beautiful setup to Kelly Yarncroke sitting there. Let me just tap up. Putting 3 fast players out there who know how to handle the puck in this economy. Sheldon, have you lost your mind? The Leafs win! Dude. Matthew Nyes got the heavyweight belt trophy for player of the game. I like that. That was pretty cool. But like, listen, we all know this is not how you ought to be winning hockey games. And not every team is Tampa. What? When did this happen, right? The Leafs own them in overtime. They own them when the Lightning have a 4-1 lead, like really niche. But also, there's a value to vibes. I mean, the 2 points in the standings that you get for this game are obvious, but things were getting bad. Dude, I was mad. Don't look at me like you're better than me. All of you were mad. All of you were mad. The GM was mad. The coach was mad. The players were mad. A lot of people around here were mad. And I keep bringing it up because it's highly relevant. The Leafs are about to go to Sweden. It's a big deal. The big thing about the Sweden trip is these guys are going to be spending a lot of time together and not actually playing that many games. So the Leafs' next game on the 8th, on Wednesday, is against the Ottawa Senators. Then they have a back-to-back on the 10th, 11th against the Flames, and then the Canucks. I'm going to be at the Leafs-Canucks game. And then after that, they go to Sweden. Their next game is not until the 17th. Then they play on the 19th, also in Sweden. And then they don't play again until, here, let me look. Then they don't play again until the 24th. Dude, if they lose this game against the Lightning, how dire do the next 3 games become? One of them is against Ottawa, who needs a win more than they need oxygen. Then the game after that is against Calgary, same deal. And then the following night is Saturday night, second half of a back-to-back against the Vancouver Canucks, who have been pistol hot. The Leafs still need to, like, it'd be nice to at least pull like a 1-1-1 out of these 3 games. Win at least 2 of them. That'd be great. But you lose this game against Tampa and then head into those 3 games, and those 3 games don't get well. Oh, that transatlantic flight is a long one. Depending on how the games go in Sweden, the flight back might be even longer. Questions, are you in? Sort of. Even after that, dude, like, Samsonov's brutal. That's a problem. 1-year deal. As good as a lot of the Leafs offense looked in this game, Bertuzzi, like, that was one of his better games, and there was still not a whole lot going on. Klingberg, I cannot believe. I can't believe. Like, dude, I would have rather had Simone Benoit out in a lot of situations. I can't believe. Hanf is still a problem. Ryan Reeves played less than 5 minutes in this game. Like, I don't know what we're doing there. I'm getting more and more okay with the idea of trading TJ Brody. Like, there's a lot that I'm still not in love with this team. But it's amazing what 2 points does to you. It's amazing what erasing a 4-1 lead does to you and an OT win at home does to you. Imagine the lasting image is the crowd cheering as Sammy gets pulled. No. The crowd leaves happy because of a 6-5 win. I'm in, but gosh darn, you gotta make some changes. Do you think my doctor will diagnose me with Leafs-related hypertension? Buddy, the doctor will diagnose you with that over the phone. Are you doing this at the Eric Lindros Classic, and it's a photo of Giordano doing that little flicky boop on Victor Hedman's face? Dude, I loved this. I loved this play so much. Here, can we have it right here next to me forever? I love this so much. You know why I love this so much? The Lightning. It's because it was the Lightning. Why? What happened on this play? What happened on this play? The Lightning do what they always do. And it's smart, but people are starting to catch on. They always do this. Kucherov had just taken a penalty. What do the Lightning do when they take a penalty? They try to take someone with them. Try to get the refs to commit to some 4-on-4 nonsense. Oh, you did this? Well, you did this too. It didn't work. And the Lightning, like they're complaining that Gio going meh to Hedman. They're trying to say, oh, that's roughing. Oh, he punched him. Oh, go cry. How many times in this game do you see 2 players just bump together gently and you hear, ha! Dude, the loudest bench in the National Hockey League. The loudest whiners in the National Hockey League, bar none. Yes, I know what team I cheer for. They're not as loud. I wish they were as loud as the Tampa Bay Lightning. And yes, dude, like, I am making fun of them, but also it's a compliment because, dude, it works. They have got the loudest bench in the National Hockey League, and one thing I know about the officials in this league, they get sick of nonsense. Steve, that is 5 straight overtime comebacks against the Lightning. How yet heart, my dude? I am gonna say this every time that it's true, and I checked it very recently. It's still true. My blood pressure is perfect. It's perfect. Look at me. I watch the Leafs. I scream for a living. I obviously love dinner. Blood pressure's perfect. I don't get it. Like, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. I don't get it. Not a question, but I knew Wool was going to be our guy years ago. I felt it in my nuggets. Chanel, why did you post this on the internet, Chanel? Good job, but like, what? Chanel? Last question, but not least, it made me laugh. Do you know what the goal song is? I legit can't hear it on the broadcast, and it went off 6 times. Isn't this proof that you don't need to have a good goal song, you just need to not have a bad one? They had a bad one, and we all noticed it. Now they don't have a bad one, and none of us even know what it is. I prefer this. They could have had a song called Steve is a Stinky Butt, Steve is a... I would have been like, yeah, Kelly Yarncroke, don't give a crap, leave one. 3 more things, real quick. Noted Alan Walsh client, William Lagesson, William the Wall Lagesson, 15 minutes and 25 seconds of ice time, 5 hits, hashtag tough as nails. Alan loves his guys. William Nylander extended a season opening point streak to 12 games with an assist in overtime tonight. Pay attention to how you feel right now. Mitchell Marner surpassed Doug Gilmour for sole possession of 3rd most 3-assist games in Maple Leafs history behind only Daryl Sutter and Boreas Salming. Again, Pay attention to how you feel. Then Mitchell Marner became just the second Maple Leafs player in the past 35 years to record consecutive 4-point outings as Toronto earned its first 3-goal comeback win since March 15th, 2019, a 7-6 win against Philly. Well, it's not the first one since then. First regular season game. I remember that game. That was one of Jake Muzzin's first games. It was against Philly. Philly was wearing black. Like black as the primary color, and the Leafs were wearing the same Pats jerseys. Now, the reason I kept saying pay attention to how you feel, talked about this on the podcast. This Leafs group, the talent of the core, these guys break a Leafs record, like a franchise record, like every week. And we just sort of go, okay. Not because we don't care, but because we have our eyes on the prize. Dude, if you get shelled, if you give up 4 goals in the first period when you're already playing poorly, yeah, it can be a tough market. Win, and I promise you won't have to worry about a thing for the rest of your life. So for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. I'm sweating. With perfect blood pressure. I'm sweating.